All right, what it is, people? It's your boy, I Grind Yugioh, back at it again with another video. And I seen an interesting article that popped up, and I have a really good question for the people. TCG or OCG? I seen this article on TCG Player, and it says 5 things American Yu-Gi-Oh has that Japan doesn't. So I think it sparked an interesting conversation. I think we all need to have it. So the OCG gets rush duels and more forgiving card rarities, but the TCG has some big advantages of its own. Let's read the article. A couple of weeks ago, I indulged in a bit of the grass is green on the other side by taking a look at some of the benefits of playing Yu-Gi-Oh in Japan. It's more than just a difference in forbidden and limited lists or early set releases. Japanese players have access to an arguably better rarity structure and core boosters, unique formats like rush duels, and some of the best card shops in the world. That said, American players and sometimes the TCG broadly, are often the envy of the OCG duelists too. There are absolutely OCG players who wish they had our forbidden and limited list, but there are plenty of other advantages to duelists here in America. All right, number 5, speed duels. Speed duels, Konami experiment with simplified version of Yu-Gi-Oh led to the creation of speed duels and rush duels, with each being exclusive to the TCG and OCG respectively. Both games are inspired by Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and owe their existence to the community adoption of a mobile dueling simulator with a 3-column field. Rush duels, in turn, were developed after seeing years of speed duel data here in the TCG. In some ways, rush duels feel like the final form of simplified Yu-Gi-Oh, but there's a catch. The least way Yu-Gi-Oh way to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Don't get me wrong, I love rush duels and I wish we had access to physical sets here in America. That said, both Duel Links and Speed Duels use existing Yu-Gi-Oh cards as their game pieces, and that's a big advantage for players who like actual Yu-Gi-Oh and aren't interested in a spin-off game. Speed Duels lets you play the same old school cards you might have owned 10 or 15 years ago, while Rush Duel features many inspired cards based on the most popular classic monsters. It's a big difference for duelists who find themselves more interested in the nostalgia of speed duels instead of the gameplay itself. Speed duels are more often reflective of the core Yu-Gi-Oh experience in almost all the ways except for its existence of skill cards. Love or hate them, skills shake up the gameplay of speed duels and make the format one of the most unique dueling experiences across the franchise. In the past, I talk about how the speed duels are a great way to introduce friends to a casual format of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think it's still the case despite the two new 2-player starter set. Speed duels are a valuable option to have whether you're a new player, nostalgic player, or just looking to throw together a game night with friends. They also have the added bonus of supplying you with a lot of cards you can also play in the regular advanced format, including some exclusive secret rares for dirt cheap prices. Alright, Speed Duels is okay. It is definitely a simplified form of Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost like the old school Yu-Gi-Oh! When I used to play years ago. But it is for either newer players or more casual players or whatever. And also you could get cheaper price rarity bumps for cheaper prices if you buy those sets or whatever. But I'm not knocking it or whatever. It's a good way to get new players in the game, and I think people should experiment with it if you're kind of into that. If you want to play a slower pace of Yu-Gi-Oh, I think Speed Duels is really good. Let's get into number 4. World premiere cards and themes. I'm a big fan of this. TCG, we talk about the OCG a lot and we complain, but we definitely get the world premiere cards first, and I'm not against that. I think it's a must that we at least get some kind of benefit. But let's read it. One of the big advantages to playing Yu-Gi-Oh in Japan is the release schedule. You get access to new cards, sets, and themes months before those same products become available worldwide in the TCG. That means OCG duelists are trailblazing on the new decks and innovating on new strategies in a way that doesn't happen very often here in the TCG. The cards we get in America have already been battle tested for months in the OCG, so players usually know whether a deck is competitive or not long before the TCG reveal. OCG exclusivity is on a pretty limited schedule for the most part. New releases debut first in Japan, of course, but that doesn't last long outside of certain products that never quite make it to the TCG. I'm looking at you. Structure Deck, Our Dragoonity Drive, Lost Sanctuary, and Warrior Strike. TCG World Premiere cards are a little different. There's an expectation that these cards and things will remain exclusive for up to a year between their TCG debut and the OCG intro. TCG World Premiere themes are unique because they're supposed to be exclusive for a bit. The normal release schedule for new products creates a small gap between the TCG and the OCG, but the World Premiere and the TCG are very different from your typical release. It's a cool nod to the TCG community, and it gives us a chance to develop new strategies with those cards long before the OCG gets their hands on them. And yes, I agree. The OCG gets almost every set before we do, but the world premieres and the exclusives we get first, and we definitely could shake up our format and, at least give them a heads up on what's going to be good so far. But I think it should stay that way. The TCG at least should get some compensation, and we should have some form of exclusivity and world premieres to where we could try them out first and, give the OCG some kind of information. So let's get to number 3. A simpler road to the World Championship qualifier. America's regional qualifier events are a stark contrast to Japan's system. When players embark on the road to the World Championship qualifier in North America, Canada, and the United States, the journey begins at a regional qualifier events held through both countries. You can participate in regionals without needing to qualify for them, and if you perform well enough, you'll score an invite to that year's WCQ. You probably never thought about how the whole process is, but definitely not as straightforward in Japan. Duelists in Japan have a few extra hoops to jump through to bring their dueling skills to the world stage. Local card shops host shop qualifiers that are a bit like smaller regionals, but players who succeed in those events aren't instantly moved into the World Championship qualifier. Instead, they qualify for another qualifier event. Those winners go on to a very exclusive WCQ event that determines the top 16, followed by yet one more event that finalizes which of the players will head to the World Championship. Japan's WCQ system starts at a local level by qualifying duelists at the stores they play at weekly. In America, duelists travel potentially hundreds of miles to take part in massive qualifiers that instantly promote them to the WCQ. Personally, I appreciate that system here in TCG is more streamlined, although I do envy duelists who can attend the Pseudo regional without driving for 2 or 3 hours. Over 2 hours. I mean, we definitely have our challenges here, but I think here our events are maybe way bigger or whatever, so they are more challenging. And even though the OCG has more smaller events and they have to qualify and jump through more hoops, I think it kind of balances out. I mean, if not, leave a comment and let me know so I could, get furthermore into detail and learn more about it or whatever. But I would like to know how their their process goes. And also, they also get cool prizing from the mats and stuff, the exclusive stuff that I see. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind playing into some OCG tournaments as well or whatever. So, number 2, more frequent reprint sets. One unexpected advantage to playing in TCG is the availability of reprints. Cards are reprinted much more frequently in TCG thanks to the reprint sets and bigger special booster packs. Both reprint boosters, like the yearly 10s and the extra cards added to the sets like Maze of Millennia, help refresh high demanded cards and prevent the secondary market from going completely out of control. Sets like Battles of Legends Chapter 1 doesn't exist in the OCG. Although that's not to say that reprint and compilation sets don't exist in Japan at all. Let's take a look at the few competitive cards to see how much of a difference between there is in TCG and OCG reprinting. Triple Tactics Talents has 2 printings in OCG, one at the Rise of Duelists in 2020 and another late last year in their version of Rarity Collection. In TCG, there are twice as many printings of Triple Tactics Talents, including 2021 10 of Ancient Battles and Magnificent Mavens. Infinite Permanence has 2 more printings in TCG, also does Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. For collectors, the infrequent reprints might be a good thing, but for competitive players, a more aggressive reprinting schedule is important for keeping the game accessible. Of course, TCG reprints are largely necessary because individual cards are harder to find in core booster sets. The rarity scheme used in the OCG makes chase cards easier to pull, which in turn reprints less of a necessity. I'm not sure what the balance is between the rarity system and the frequency of reprints, but lately it seems like they've been off the mark in the TCG. And I can definitely agree with that. They say we have more reprints, but the prices are still high. I don't know why. They short print these cards to the ground, but it is what it is. I mean, we have to deal with it. We still have to buy our cards. We still have to play our decks, but I mean, the OCG cards are very, very, very much cheaper or whatever. So, I mean, it's just how it is right now. So, I'm just reading the article and rolling with it. But number one, best of 3 YCS events. In America, the biggest premier tournaments outside of WCQ are the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series events. Japan has no shortage of premier events, including their own YCSJ tournaments, but their version of the YCS is a bit different. These tournaments are day one events that are also played in the best of one format. That means matches only contain a single game, and as a result of the side deck doesn't exist in those events. Wow, just like almost Master Duel, there is no side deck. What does Yu-Gi-Oh! Look like without a side deck? From a gameplay perspective, the best of one system means that players need to weigh their matchups and counter picks more carefully for every potential matchup. Decks that frequently lose to popular sided cards have a huge advantage in this format, and the shorter round time introduces its own set of issues. From an event perspective, a best of one event is actually a pretty great experience for the traveling player. It's less expensive because you only need a hotel for one night at most, and you're less likely to have to take time off to work to attend. But at the same time, the best of one format leaves a lot more to luck than a more forgiving best of 3, and degenerate strategies can run wild. Shorter events sound nice, but given that YCS events usually have side events, to participate in the 2-day event makes a lot of sense. Best of one formats are an oddity in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And likely wouldn't be received well in TCG either. Organized play is the chief strength of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In America. There are so many people working to make playing Yu-Gi-Oh! An awesome experience here in TCG, and they do a great job of supplying locations, tournaments with the tools they need to host great events. While grass look greener in Japan in regarding card rarity and unique products like Rush do, I think we have plenty worth envying over here in TCG. Until next time. All right, well, I mean, the best of 3, that's definitely a must. I think you should have a best of 3 event because I mean, you lose one game, it's not over for you for that round, and I think you should have a best of 3. That makes more sense to like balance it out. I mean, you have one bad game, you should be able to bounce back and win your next 2 and then win that round. So I think we definitely have a big upside with that and a big bonus with that. So I can't be mad, with Konami, and the OCG players definitely I think have they're at a disadvantage with that. But the fact that you have a 1-day event is really, really good, and you don't have to take days off work. A lot of people have to take days off work. And the traveling costs more, the bookings cost more, hotels, cars, and things like that, food and everything. So 1-day events don't sound too bad, but I mean, the fact that it's the best of one game is, kind of, it's a dice roll, so I don't know. But this is a good discussion. Let me know, TCG or OTG, which side do you think is better and which side do you think has some things to fix? Like, comment, subscribe, leave some comments down. Let's have a discussion, and more videos on the way. Also, I have a membership for YouTube, Yu-Gi-Oh! Members. You can also sign up for the prices, below or whatever, and start adding that membership, and also for exclusive deck lists and things like that, and also other exclusive content or whatever. If you want to see my videos ahead of time before everyone else, join the membership, and as soon as I upload them, they'll be available for you before everybody. I also schedule my videos ahead of time, so you'll have every single video that I upload. It'll be right at your fingertips. So check out my membership, and if you want to join and support me. And also, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and let's have a discussion in the comment section.